And you're just thinking, I don't want to get too carried away just yet for Forest, but who knows? Who knows how long they can keep this good start up for?
What are you thinking then, fella? What stood out for you this round? What is going to be this week's Matt's moment?
How could it not be Liverpool 0, Nottingham Forest 1, Ben? What a result. There are so many honourable mentions. This was a really good Premier League weekend full of great storylines, which we will get into through the rest of the podcast. But Matt's moment this week has to be the story that we saw unfolding at Anfield. A massive result at both ends of the table, because coming into this, look, I've been getting battered by Forest fans after this, because coming into this, I thought it was a home banker, and that's no disrespect to Forest, by the way. Forest have been so good so far this season. 5 points, it really could have been more with a couple of the draws they've had at home. And coming away to Liverpool, who have been so good, 3 wins out of 3. Slot is having such a great impact there. They're playing good football. They've not conceded a goal yet. So you're thinking possibly damage limitations for Forest. And then I was following this game, 0-0 at half-time. You're thinking, okay, possibly Forest get something. And then they take the lead on 72 minutes. I was thinking, can they see out a 0-0 potentially? But they've gone and snatched all 3 points. And it really does show how far Nottingham Forest have come, because this, for me, is undoubtedly their best result since they've been back in the Premier League. They've had some really good results. You know, obviously they've beaten Liverpool at home in the first season. They beat Arsenal at home. I think they got a draw against Man City as well. But to go away to a team that we think could be in the title race, we can maybe come on to Liverpool a little bit later, where it's not a great result for them. But what a performance. I think every player needs a mention from this. The team's building really nice, and there's a really nice shape to it. You can say, if you're a Liverpool fan, if you're upset with Forest, they were defensive, there was a couple of challenges we didn't like, but that's what you've got to do. If you're from outside the top 6, you've got to go there. I wouldn't necessarily say they sat as a block as well, because I'm looking at some of the numbers here. Liverpool didn't even register 1 on the XG. They were 0.94.
I think those two centre-halves, Matt, were heading and kicking bricks. I think they were on something. They were incredible, Murillo and Milenkovic.
Yeah, absolutely. They were so good. And the fullbacks as well. Aina was really good. Sells had a good game. And like I say, they just kept themselves in it. But ultimately, they looked like they were carrying a threat. And the more it went on, the more they grew into it, the more they fancied their chances. And this is a statement win. You know, Forest for the last 2 seasons have got by. In the first season, it was about surviving. 16th place. They did it with Cooper, with all those new players. Last season, we'll put it down to the season of FFP, a points deduction once again. Let's just get over the line. This time round, we've spoken about that it's very unlikely that they're going to get a points deduction, if not any at all. I don't really see how it would happen with the outgoings that we've spoken about. So it's like the roads opened up. I know it's early on, but this is a great start. You know, we'd said before the first 3 fixtures were nice, but this is some statement result. What a win for Forest. And next up, Brighton away, and they're going there full of confidence.
Well, mate, I had it exactly the same as you. We said last week, you know, well done, Forest, but soft start. Go on then. Away you go to Liverpool away, and we'll see if we're talking about it. And by God, going there. I hadn't realised, Matt, Brian Clough, that whole era in the league, they never won. They never won it. I know they beat them famously in the European Cup, but I think they did the damage at the City ground in that one. So it's actually just a massively historic win. So what are you thinking then? Because they've now debunked the "it was an easy start" thing. The next thing will be all the people that say, "Oh, it's too early to tell." Ipswich have gone to Brighton, as we'll come on to, and got a point with a bit of a stiff defensive performance. And Forest have got a manager who can do exactly that, and frankly, better players than Ipswich. And then Fulham at home, and you could be looking at 6 games. Can they still be at 2 points per game after 6 games? And where can they take this?
Well, I think when we spoke about Forest after 2 games, I said to you, can you imagine if they get to 5 games with 10 points? Well, they've got to 4 games with 8 points. They could still get to 11 from 5, but we'll talk about where they are right now, which is in a really good position. The thing I wanted to look at here is Nuno, the job he did for Wolves. Can he transfer that over to Forest? Because obviously he took them up top of the Championship. They were brilliant. They spent a lot of money, but they were great. And then back-to-back 7th place finishes in the Premier League. And you're just thinking, I don't want to get too carried away just yet for Forest, but who knows? Who knows how long they can keep this good start up for? I mean, people will say, oh, it's been a favourable start. I'm looking at these next few games: Brighton away, Fulham at home, Chelsea away, Palace at home, Leicester away. I think they're going to get a few more points in those games. I think it does get difficult in December. I think that's a month where they get Arsenal and the Manchester clubs. But yeah, you're right. I mean, what a historic win, even though they had that great success with Brian Clough. And it was always a historic matchup, Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest. They were two giant clubs with great success in the 80s and the 70s. But you look at where they are now, what a win. It's the first time since 1969. I think I'm right in saying.
You're right, yeah.
What a win. I mean, you know, it comes down to each person's interpretation of this. If there are people that think, I still just want to see Forest get past that certain threshold, and then we can start looking forwards, because in the last 2 seasons they've been involved in relegation battles. But I think Forest fans are well within their rights to start looking up the table this season. It's really, really exciting. And like I say, it wasn't just the result, but the performance. Brilliant stuff from Forest.
Yeah, say no more, and we will keep our beady little eyes on Nottingham Forest. We'll clip that one out for Matt's channel as well. So get your takes in the comments, particularly what happens next. I'm intrigued now. Is Matt onto something in saying, well, if you're the best of the rest and you start beating those teams in the middle, you're 8th, 7th in the Premier League, aren't you? So let's see long-term what Forest can do. But very, very deservedly, Nottingham Forest are Matt's moment this week. And we're going to go to a very predictable Worldie of the Week.